Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on Monday Night Raw and Superstars. But first, as normal, some WWE news. WWE developmental wrestler Sofia Cortez, aka Ivelisse Velez, announced on Twitter that she has been released by the company. So she's been terminated. She appeared as Ivelisse on the WWE Tough Enough show in 2011. The show and good ring potential. She showed good in-ring potential, so her release is surprising. I haven't seen her in quite a while, so I was wondering what was going on with her. Former WWE star Shane Hurricane Helms announced that he will not be appearing as advertised at the Bloody Mania 6 pay-per-view. And in the triple threat match is now been diminished down to just one-on-one. John Morrison versus Matt Hardy. Helms noted that he was forced to cancel due to transportation issues. Helms issued an apology by video, and that includes some NSFW language for not being able to appear and you can watch it on YouTube. I believe I will post that in a separate video with the results to that show, because there was a lot of former WWE talent in that show. Might be, in fact, I will go ahead and do that as a separate video. It sounded like Helms did everything he could to make the booking. He was scheduled to face John Morrison and Matt Hardy in a three-way dance at Bloody Mania, which is an pay-per-view, which took place on Sunday night, Sunday night. One can only assume that Hardy versus Morrison is still in play, as you will hear the results in the video with Juggalo Championship Wrestling results. Former manager returned at a live event from Biloxi, Mississippi. Paul Bearer was introduced by Heath Slater. Paul came out and spoke about how the first match he ever managed was in the Mississippi Gulf Coast Coliseum. He also joked that he had to be thawed out to show up. These old guys love their kayfabe guys. Slater came out and said that he was tired of being beat by legends. Paul Bearer then said he couldn't wrestle, and neither Taker or Kane was there. And so Bearer introduced Ryback. Ryback then defeated Heath Slater, not your typical Ryback squash match, since Slater got in a lot of offense. Slater sells almost as well as Dolph did a few years ago, and the crowd responded to him very well. The crowd also popped big for Ryback. There was a few Goldberg chants that drowned out by the Phoebe Moore chants. The crowd also chanted "Finish it" during his final sequence, just like he does, mimicking him. I guess that means he's getting over with the crowd. And Santino has been announced by WWE that he will defend the U.S. title against Antonio Cesaro in the free preview match prior to SummerSlam. The match will air on the free preview that is available on all social sites of WWE. That's YouTube, Facebook, and the WWE website at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. CM Punk was interviewed at Wizard World in Chicago on Saturday and took part in the question and answer session. The following are the highlights of the session, courtesy of WrestlingRambles.com. CM Punk said his match against Daniel Bryan at Over the Limit was probably his favorite match of 2012. Someone asked Punk what he thought about Bryan in a submission match, and Punk said he would love for that to happen. On the Kevin Nash he was asking about the Kevin Nash controversy about smaller wrestlers winning the title. Punk said that is Nash's opinion, and you can't hate someone's opinion just because you don't agree with it. And then he comments on JTG's Twitter rant, and CM Punk said if JTG had a problem with something, He should have talked to Vince McMahon or somebody backstage instead of ranting about it on Twitter. Punk also said that although his original pipe bomb promo was a public rant, just like JTG, everything Punk said during the promo were the same things he had been saying to Vince for months. Someone then asked Punk if he still feels the same way about the things that he said in his original pipe bomb promo a year ago. Punk said it's different now because he is a lot less pissed off than he was originally back then. Punk then was asked if he would rather face The Rock or John Cena at WrestleMania. Punk said he wants to face The Rock so he could try to have a better match with The Rock than Cena did, and then be able to tell Cena that Punk's match was better. Punk made it sound like Rock and Cena are the top possible opponents for WrestleMania next year. Punk said it's unlikely he will face Stone Cold anytime soon because Stone Cold just had knee surgery. Punk said that match will only happen if Stone Cold wants it to happen. Punk then talked about how Eddie Guerrero offered to help CM Punk, and Punk would talk to Eddie a lot of times. Punk revealed that his new DVD will be shown to the public at a theater in Chicago 2 days before it was released, or will be released. Punk said that one of the extras on the DVD is Kofi Kingston and him playing a Street Fighter video game, and Punk said it's funny. Punk then said he really doesn't know if Colt Cabana wants to be in the WWE because when they talk to each other, they don't talk about wrestling. Punk said that he was originally going to get the lead role in a Marine 3. He would have worked on WWE TV shows and then been off house shows, but the shooting schedule conflicted with the WWE European Tour. Punk said that the role went to someone in the WWE that fans wouldn't care so much if he was gone for a little bit, thus referring to The Miz. Punk was then asked who he would work with if he could work with anyone. He said Samoa Joe. Well, Punk was also asked which wrestler from an independent company he would like to see in the WWE. Punk said Samoa Joe again. But yet Samoa Joe is not in the indie feds anymore. He's with TNA Impact Wrestling. The fan said that Samoa Joe works for TNA, and Punk said something like, I know, you said indie, didn't you? So he's referring to TNA as indie. Well, folks, if you didn't know, well, CM Punk was also in TNA. He could have well faced Samoa Joe back in the day. And Mickie James was going under the character of Alexis Lurie, and she was managing Punk back then. And back then, Punk still had the same tattoos, and also he had blonde hair. Someone asked when he would see Punk perform the Pepsi Plunge again. Punk said that it isn't used because he doesn't think he needs to use it. Punk said the move isn't banned, and no one has told him that he can't use the move, so that's about it. Okay, the overexcited Brock Lesnar fan was in line to ask a question. Before his question, Punk invited him to the stage. Punk said something like, does anyone know who this is? It's the Brock Lesnar guy. Punk talked about the guy that is shown in every Lesnar video package because of when he copied Lesnar's entrance thing. When Lesnar returned on Raw in April, Punk made the fan do the same thing he did on Raw. I think Punk said that the guys in the back enjoyed seeing it whenever it is replayed. Punk then talked about retiring from wrestling. He said that he will be 34 in a few months. He said that is too old to be able to perform at a high level in professional wrestling. Punk said he won't be another Triple H or Undertaker. Those two guys are currently older than 40 and still performing in the ring. Punk then said when he does retire, he will leave the wrestling business for at least 2 years. I think he said if he does return to wrestling, he won't make a return to the ring. His retirement will not be like a Terry Funk retirement or Ric Flair. Punk said he feels good now and he wants to stay healthy after he is retired. Punk said that he has had one surgery and he never wants to have another surgery ever again. Punk said he doesn't want to say when he might retire because the answer would depress the hell out of everyone. Punk said he is running out of goals to accomplish and wants to retire soon because he has never had a break. I think Punk said that other than 2 months break while he fractured his skull, he has never taken a break since 1997. Punk mentioned that he was supposed to get a break after Money in the Bank 2011, but that didn't happen. Then Punk said, CM means whatever fans want it to mean. For instance, Crazy Madness. Okay. Punk was then asked, what was his biggest challenge becoming a WWE superstar? Punk said, I think the challenge was becoming a WWE superstar, and there was just so much that was challenging about it. I don't really know what the hardest thing was. And then Punk talked about the new design for the WWE Championship belt. I think he said it's coming soon. They showed a debut of it, but he said the thing weighed like 25, 30 pounds. And it's something he helped create. He teased that it could happen at SummerSlam or maybe the next pay-per-view after SummerSlam, which is in Boston, John Cena's hometown. And CM Punk said tout and Twitter are the future of WWE, so get used to it. Punk then said he thinks it is good for the WWE, but he doesn't want to see tout on Raw every 10 minutes. Punk then said WrestleMania is going to cities that WWE give WWE the most money, and he compared the process to cities bidding for the Olympics. Punk then says he doesn't like getting hit with weapons, especially kendo sticks. Punk said kendo sticks are very painful and told the fans not to hit people with kendo sticks, as they always do in their pay-per-views. And sometimes on Raw or SmackDown it says, don't try this at home. But do people actually really pay attention to that? Punk was asked to name his favorite fighting video game, and he said he likes Mortal Kombat. Slapshot is Punk's favorite movie. Punk was asked about the possibility of seeing a CM Punk comic book, and guess what he says? He says he doesn't want to see it. Punk said that he might be currently working on creating a comic book of his own. Punk was then asked about his favorite Batman villain, and he said it is probably the Joker. Punk was also asked about which fictional character he would like to wrestle, and Punk said he would fight Catwoman. And finally, the Raw. Well, actually, prior to the Raw tapings in Dallas, is Superstars event. And fan comments while we were outside, the WWE crew member said Daniel Bryan will be wearing a new T-shirt next week at SummerSlam. He was asking us to vote for which one we liked. We had 4 options to choose from. Apparently, there is also a Facebook poll where fans can vote on the shirt. Well, I never seen no voting for it on the Facebook page. Okay, there were plenty of woo and yes chants, and once we were led inside the building, Brodus Clay's disco ball was hanging above the ring. There's nothing else out of the ordinary. Of course, Raw takes place in Dallas, Texas at the American Airlines Center. It's the go-home show for Sunday's SummerSlam pay-per-view. Brock Lesnar, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels are advertised, so we should see follow-up to Lesnar's threat that he would see HBK prior to SummerSlam. Plus, Pauly D of Jersey Shore fame serves as a social media ambassador. Former AWA and WWE wrestler Jumping Jim Brunzell, formerly the Killer Bees, turned 63 years old. And that's today, August 13th. Well, he was born in 1970. He worked as he was born in 1949. His Wikipedia page states that he works as a financial planner for Focus Financial in the Twin Cities area. Spike Dudley also has a birthday today. Real name of Matt Hyson. He turned 42. He was born August 13, 1970. I was reading a little bit. And, of course, he worked as Spike Dudley in ECW and WWE, and also wrestled as Brother Runt for TNA. He worked his retirement match on September 11th, 2010. Terry Taylor, the Red Rooster, a.k.a. Paul Taylor, his real name, celebrated his 57th birthday on Sunday. He was born August the 12th, 1955. He worked as the head of talent relations in TNA until last year when he was let go by the company. He's a longtime friend of Triple H and has been involved with WWE developmental in some capacity, though it's unknown whether he was officially hired on. Former ECW manager and longtime referee Bill Alfonso, a.k.a. William Sierra, turned 55 on Saturday. Heck, I thought it was in his 60s. I thought he was already 50s when he was in ECW. Well, he was born August 11th, 1957. And the following matches are listed for the 30-minute UWF wrestling show that will air on ESPN Classic at 8:30. That did air on 8:30 p.m. tonight. Cowboy Bob Orton versus Benjamin, and Paul Orndorff versus Spitball, and Dr. Death Steve Williams. So I wonder if that was a triple threat or a handicap match. Of course, that's Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff. And the following matches that are listed for 11 p.m. That's already on right now. Central Time. Airing of the AWA on ESPN Classic. W.T. Jones versus Johnny Stewart. Jamie Magnum versus Curtis Hughes. That's Hughes. That's if I'm not mistaken, he was one of the bodyguards in WWE. Tom Bennett versus Colonel De Beers. And the Destruction Crew versus Trooper and DJ Peterson. And now for your Superstars matches. Josh Matthews and Scott Stanford are introduced. Usos defeated Johnny Curtis and Michael McGillicuddy. And the second match, A-Rise on a winning streak defeated Drew McIntyre. And the ring crew then switches the ring apron over to Raw, so Superstar taping concluded. So there was actually no prior dark match. Michael Coleslaw was introduced to a sea of booze. He has new theme music. What? It sounds like Frank Sinatra. And then Jerry Lawler came out next to some big cheers. And tonight's Raw opens with a new intro video. We're live from the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas, as Michael Cole welcomes us to Raw. He's joined by Jerry King Lawler. CM Punk versus Big Show, supposedly. We go right to the ring. And out comes WWE Champion CM Punk for a non-title match. Out next comes Big Show as the announcers hype SummerSlam. So they have a match. Bottom line, it gets interfered with. And here's how it happens. They lock up. Show overpowers them. And of course, he's 7 foot tall. How tall is CM Punk? 6'1". Punk fights back and takes Show to the corner with lefts and rights. Show overpowers him again and turns it around. Punk with kicks now. Show stops him with a headbutt. Show chokes Punk on the ropes now. They go to the corner again and Show connects with a big chop to the chest. Show continues his assault on Punk and walks on the top of him. Show stands on Punk's head now. Show with another big chop to the chest. Punk fought back and staggered Show with a drop kick. Show stopped him with another headbutt and a big scoop slam. What? Show with a scoop slam? Yeah, that's what happened. Show then worked over on Punk's arm and shoulder. Punk started another comeback. Show misses a splash in the corner and Punk connects with a high knee. Show blocks a bulldog and spears Punk. Daniel Bryan's music comes and out and he comes. Bryan comes out ranting about how he will make Punk tap out. He thinks he should be wrestling the WWE Champion at SummerSlam and not Kane. Show hits Punk with a big side slam and goes to the top. Punk kicks him down and springboards in with a clothesline. Punk with a 2 count. Bryan rushes the ring and attacks Punk for the disqualification. After the bell, Bryan applies the no lock on still the Borgasm lock, so what I'm gonna call it. And Punk won't let go. He won't let Punk go. Show takes advantage and drops an elbow on Punk's back while he's down. And John Cena runs down and clotheslines Show out of the ring. How messy this was, because you knew that Show was already like right at the ropes. And you know the first thing that John's going to do is do his little run to the ropes, clothesline, does a complete flip, lands on his feet outside the ring and falls down. Okay, and after that, let's see, Bryan attacks Cena and then gets bumped out to the floor. Cena cleans house and okay, yeah, that was a back body drop. Cena back body dropped Daniel Bryan to the floor. Cena cleaned house as Punk looks on. Raw General Manager AJ Lee comes down, skipping to the ring. AJ says Daniel is clearly still dealing with his anger management. He will make it up to everyone for ruining this match, and AJ announces Bryan and Show tag teaming versus Punk and Cena for later on tonight. And AJ skips to the back, and CM Punk and Cena are arguing in the ring. Didn't look like much arguing. It looked like they were just talking to each other, because they're like smiling at each other as they go to break. Well, still to come tonight's segment, contract signing between Triple H and Brock Lesnar. Back to commercial. Back from the break, JTG is backstage talking with Caitlyn. He is complaining about not being able to get a match on the 3-hour show. AJ walks by and wonders if he's trying to say she's not doing a good job. JTG gets quiet now as AJ questions him. AJ tells JTG to get to the ring now because his match is up next, and she will find him an opponent. He walks off and she's left with Caitlyn. Then she talks about, she says, Caitlyn, if Caitlyn thinks she's unstable, Caitlyn can't think of very many words to describe AJ, but unstable isn't one of them, and as she said, and she walks off. Cole and Lawler hyped tonight's big tag match, and the person that she picked was none other than Ryback. Well, this was a giveaway. We go to the ring, and out comes JTG. Coleslaw brings up JTG's Twitter rant from last week. Out comes his opponent, Ryback. Ryback has new theme song this week. And a very loud chant for Ryback with his "Feed Me More," because that's part of his music, his theme music now. The bell rings and they lock up. Ryback shoves JTG off and backs him into the ropes. They go at it and JTG hits the right hands for his little bit of offense. Ryback catches him with a belly suplex and runs over him with a big boot. Ryback slams JTG's head on the mat a few times and drops him with a big power bomb. The crowd chants "Feed Me More" as Ryback gets ready. He nails a big clothesline and then hits Shell Shock for the win. I guess that's what he's calling his move. Picks him up, backdrop. Coleslaw announces that Roddy Piper is here tonight, and fans will be able to vote on Twitter their choices for a Piper's Pit guest. The new choices are Y2J Pit. This was for Chris Jericho. And you got let's say hashtag Y2J Pit, and then you got Miz Pit for Miz is choice. And then you got hashtag Dolph Pit for Dolph Ziggler. Back to commercial. Back from the break, and Santino versus Antonio Cesaro with the United States title is on the line. Is announced for SummerSlam pre-show match, which I missed that myself. I didn't catch that. WWE Hall of Famer Roddy Piper is backstage rambling. The camera pans and we see Shawn Michaels there with him. And he's just kind of ignoring Piper at the present time. They do a bit and Shawn takes a phone call. It sounds like he's talking to Triple H, who apparently is stuck on a flight or on his way to the arena. Shawn says he needs to be here tonight because it's not Shawn's fight. Shawn hangs up and looks worried. As Piper was talking to Shawn, and he just not into it. Heath Slater versus R-Truth was up next. We go to the ring. Heath Slater's introduced by one half of the He was interrupted by one half of the tag team champions. Of course, he does his little intro. I'm the one-man band. And of course, Lawler says, was talking to Michael Cole and said, he can play every instrument. He's a one-man band. Truth and Slater go at it, and they trade right hands. Slater drops Truth with a neck breaker to start his offense. Slater with a big quick pin attempt. Slater works Truth over and keeps him grounded on the mat. Truth ducks and comes back with a clothesline of his own and a face plant for the quick win. Nothing more than that match. After the match, the music hits and out comes Darren Young and Titus O'Neil. Truth fights him off, but gets dropped by a big boot from Titus. Truth gets double teamed now because Kofi is not there tonight, as they announced during the match. By the new number one contenders, and if you don't know, that AEW got fired this week. Who got their title shot at SummerSlam? It was mentioned earlier that Kofi Kingston is on tour overseas as the primetime players celebrate without AEW as we go back to commercial. They don't say much on TV about AEW's firing. Back from the break, and we see some tout videos from Mark Henry while he was in London for the Olympics. Cole and Lawler plugged DJ Paulie D, who is tonight's social media ambassador. They go over some of his tweets about tonight's show so far, which I didn't catch much of that myself. We get a look at SmackDown where the World Heavyweight title match was canceled. They show the WWE.com video where Booker T said Alberto Del Rio crossed the line and would be facing repercussions. Coleslaw shows us some new tout video from Alberto Del Rio where he said he would be speaking with Booker on SmackDown. Next up, match was Sin Cara versus Tensai. We go to the ring. Out first comes Sin Cara. We go to commercial before his opponent comes out. Back from the break, and out comes Tensai with Sakamoto. Bell rings and Tensai drops Sin Cara. Goes for a power bomb, but Cara turns it around and tries for a roll up, but can't. Tensai runs over Cara with a shoulder. Tensai goes for the splash in the corner, but Cara moves. Cara goes up top with a senton. Cara kicks Sakamoto off the apron and sends Tensai flying into him. Cara with more offense and a DDT from the corner. Well, this was a jump to the corner, stepped on the rope, jumped to the other side, and tornado DDT from the corner, and Cara with a quick pin out of nowhere. After the match, of course, Cara hurried up the ramp. Tensai grabs Sakamoto and brought him to the ring. Tensai slaps him and slams him with the Albert Bomb. Tensai drops a backsplash on Sakamoto and screams. And they show Shawn Michaels backstage asking a crew member if they have seen someone. Shawn wants to be notified when this person arrives. Then they plug another Piper's Pit for later on. Back to commercial. Back for the break, Jerry the King Lawler introduces Roddy Piper. The ring is all done up for Piper's Pit. Piper cuts a promo, and Lawler reveals a guest to be Chris Jericho with 55% of the vote. Yeah, Chris Jericho wanted to vote, was in the voting for it. And I was guessing everybody was going to come out anyways, and my prediction came true. Jericho's music hits, and out he comes to Piper's Pit. Piper says last time he saw Jericho was when Mickey Rourke knocked him out at WrestleMania a few years back. Jericho talks about he beat the Legends at WrestleMania that year. Jericho is excited to be on Piper's Pit for the first time ever and thanks the fans. Piper talks about how Dolph Ziggler can't win the big one anymore. Piper says he knew Jericho's father and he won the big one. Vicky Guerrero, Miss Piggy Guerrero, when she was coming out screaming, I thought it was my daughter yelling at me. Excuse me! I thought it was like, Tommy! Well, come to find out, my daughter was gone with my wife for a little bit of time. This was a real low screaming voice for Vicky Guerrero, Miss Piggy. As she introduced Dolph, and out he comes with his briefcase. Ziggler asks Piper, how many years have we been doing the same retired segment? Or the same tired segment? Ziggler calls Piper sad. Piper knocks Ziggler for wearing pink and takes a shot at Vicky. Ziggler asks how many failed comebacks does Jericho have to have before he realizes that he just can't do it anymore. Ziggler says Jericho will be finished after their match on Sunday. Jericho comes back, but Vicky chimes in and Jericho tells her to shut the hell up. Jericho says he hasn't forgot about Vicky slapping him on Friday night SmackDown. Jericho says he's going to prove Ziggler wrong by beating him at SummerSlam. Jericho guarantees that. Piper tries to a Y2J chant, and then is interrupted by The Miz coming out, who is the Intercontinental Champion. And he's out doing his really crap. He says Dolph and he have something in common. They can still win the big one. Miz talks about some of the accomplishments and says he's taking matters into his own hands. He's taking over the show. He tells Dolph he can be his guest, but Piper and Jericho get the hell out of his ring. Piper yells, no, 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 and Jericho lays Miz out with a right hand. Jericho attacks Ziggler and throws Miz out of the ring. Ziggler grabs his briefcase, but Jericho counters and knocks him out of the ring. Jericho poses with Piper as his music plays, and they go back to commercial. And the match is up next. There's Jericho versus Miz versus Dolph Ziggler, triple threat. And if you're not familiar with triple threat rules, anything goes. Back from the break. And we have a match, as announced by AJ on Twitter. The bell rings and Jericho fights both men off and clotheslines Miz in the corner. Jericho with a backdrop and a drop kick on Ziggler, sending him out to the floor. Jericho works over Miz now and suplexes him. Pin attempt by Jericho. Jericho with chops. Ziggler trips Jericho up and comes back in the match. Ziggler and Miz stomp away on Jericho and continue to double team him. Miz and Ziggler finally have words and Jericho attacks them both. Jericho dumps Miz to the floor and then Jericho leaps over the top, takes them both out. Jericho climbs up top of the announcer's table and plays to the crowd. Jericho slams a piece of the table into his opponents and rolls Ziggler back in the ring. That's the covering of the table. Okay, the announcer table. Jericho kicks Miz in the face, but gets knocked into the announcer table by Ziggler as they go to break. Back for a commercial, and Miz is going at it with Jericho in the ring while Ziggler is still on the floor. Miz takes control. Ziggler tries to get back, but he can't. Miz covers Jericho for a 2 and goes back to work. Miz with a submission now. Miz misses the big clothesline in the corner as Jericho moves. Jericho makes a comeback with shoulders, a couple of shoulder blocks. He springboard drop kicks Dolph as he tries to come in. Jericho unloads on Miz and hits the Bulldog. Jericho with a Lion's Halt for a 2. As Ziggler comes back in, Jericho stops Ziggler and takes Miz to the apron. Jericho goes for the superplex, but Dolph comes over and power bombs them. This was actually a double. Okay, he's getting him up for a superplex, I believe. Yep, and Ziggler tried to pin Dolph, but Jericho reversed it for a 2 count of his own. That's a backslide. Ziggler drops Jericho with a big leg drop for another pin attempt. Miz comes in from behind and hits the skull crusher finale on Ziggler, but Jericho breaks the pin. Miz goes at it with Jericho and gets rolled up. Jericho goes for the walls of Jericho, but Miz counters. Power move. Ziggler comes in and takes out the Miz. Jericho hits Ziggler with a code breaker. Jericho covers Ziggler, but Vicky pulls his foot and puts it on the bottom rope. The referee was looking that way, and then he's back so he wouldn't be forced to see her do that. Okay, Miz rolls Jericho up, but he kicked out. Of course, Jericho blocks the SCF and rolls Miz up into the walls of Jericho. Miz taps out, but Vicky has the referee distracted again. Ziggler runs in and hits a zigzag on Jericho for the win. So Dolph wins the match. the big one. We see CM Punk backstage warming up. Eve Torres appears and congratulates him on the new CM Punk. He says there is no new CM Punk. He says he's the same guy he's always been. Punk says all he has ever done is fight for respect because that's what he deserves. Eve says nobody believes that, especially John Cena. Punk says he will go tell Cena that to himself as he walks off. Still to come segment, the Lesnar Triple H contract signing for SummerSlam. Back to commercial. Back from the break, and Coleslaw goes over more Raw tweets from Paulie D. We get a look back at earlier tonight when John Cena made the save for CM Punk against Daniel Bryan and Big Show. Shawn Michaels is shown backstage, and Michael Cole mentioned Triple H isn't here tonight. Cena walks up on HBK, and he's a bit jumpy. HBK walks off, and CM Punk walks up. Punk says he won't stab anyone in the back, but he will make sure Cena and Show don't walk out of SummerSlam the champion. Back to commercial. Back from the break, and we get another vignette for Wade Barrett, which I didn't see. And we get Caitlyn and Layla versus Beth Phoenix and Eve Torres for your Divas Bitches match for Raw. We go to the ring. Out comes Diva Champion Layla with her partner Caitlyn. Out next comes the team of Beth Phoenix and Eve Torres. Beth and Layla start things out. They go at it. Beth lifts her high. Layla sides out, and they go to the corner. Eve tags herself in and beats Layla down in the corner. Layla with more counters and pin attempts. Layla springboards in with a crossbody for a pin attempt. Layla with a headlock now. Layla dances around and bumps Eve in the face. Caitlyn taunts Eve, allowing Layla to clothesline her. 2 count by Layla. Caitlyn tags in and hits the backbreaker for 2. Caitlyn with more shots and another pin attempt. Caitlyn goes to the second rope, but Eve pulls her to the mat. Eve mounts her with the right hands and covers for a 2 count. Beth tags in and takes control of Caitlyn. She also clotheslines Layla off the apron. Referee holds Layla back as Caitlyn gets double teamed in the corner. Caitlyn fights Beth and takes another shot at Eve. Caitlyn pushes Beth into Eve and then rolls Beth up for the win. That was basically a better than normal match for a Divas match. I'll give it that. It was actually had athleticism and only like one botch or something in the match. And then they show the video package for Lesnar versus Triple H again. Lawler says Triple H has not arrived yet, but is on his way to the arena. The tag match is up next after the commercial. And we get Big Show and Daniel Bryan versus CM Punk and John Cena going into the third hour. Back from the break, and out comes Big Show for the first for his team. Daniel Bryan is out next. WWE Champion CM Punk is out first for his team, followed by John Cena. Cena and Bryan start things out. Cena applies a headlock and drops him with a shoulder. Punk tags himself in while Cena isn't expecting it. Bryan tag, in other words. Show wants to tag in Bryan, but he yells at Bryan. He yells at Big Show saying, no, there's no gasms. They go back and forth a bit until Cena tags himself back in. Show wants to tag, but still Bryan yells no at him. Cena and Bryan go at it. And Cena gets the upper hand. Well, Big Show is saying that you'll get yours. Cena with a drop kick. Show finally comes in and turns things around on Cena. Back from a commercial break. And Show is still in control of Cena. Cena starts to fight back, but Show catches him in midair. Bryan tags himself in. Bryan yells at Show to get out of the ring, and they have words. Bryan misses a drop kick on Cena in the corner. Punk comes in and closes on Bryan. Punk with a neck breaker and a 2 count on Show. As Show broke the pin, Punk goes to tag Cena, but he's not there because he got knocked out of the ring, rolled out of the ring. Bryan pulled Punk back and tagged Show. Show goes to work on Punk now. Show with a big body shot on Punk. Show backs Punk into the ropes and delivers another big chop to the chest. Punk fights back, but Show catches him in a bear hug. Punk tries to make a comeback, but Show drops him with a backdrop. Show taunts Cena as Punk recovers. Punk fights back again, but Show scoop slams him. Yeah, scoop slams. So he's done 2 scoop slams in one night. Bryan tags himself in again and yells at Show to get out. They argue again. Show leaves the ring and takes a seat at ringside. Bryan unloads on Punk and kicks to the chest. Punk ducks one. Takes Bryan down with another. Punk mocks Cena's sequence of moves and hits the shoulder blocks and backdrop and the 5-knuckle shuffle. Cena stops the shuffle by tagging himself in. Cena hits a high knee in the corner and then the bulldog like Punk. So they just trade finishers. Punk leaves the ring and heads up the ramp. Bryan rolls Cena up for the 2 out of nowhere. But Cena came back with an attitude adjustment on Bryan for the win as Big Show looks on from ringside. Oh, winners of the match, CM Punk and John Cena. After the match, Cena celebrates and then in comes Show, but Punk runs back in to make the save and knocks Show down with a WWE title belt. And he's about to hit Cena with it, but stops himself. As Cena's looking up, and him and Punk stare at each other for a minute. Punk extends his hand for a shake, but Cena won't accept it. It's like, are you crazy? Think I'm going to trust you? I guess he's taking Stone Cold's advice. DTA, don't trust anyone. Punk gets pissed and leaves the ring with the WWE title. Punk walks straight to the back as Cena's music plays again. Josh Breckus catches Punk backstage and asks him what just happened. Punk says Cena went into business for himself and only cares about himself. Punk says Cena disrespected him by not shaking his hand. Punk says he's going to teach Cena and everyone about respect after SummerSlam on Sunday. Back to commercial. And again, my guess is the Wade Barrett interference for the Barrett Barrage to set up the comeback of the Nexus. Well, since they went back to commercial, back from the break, we see Paul Heyman backstage talking with Brock Lesnar. There's the camera panning in, it's like hiding around the corner, doing the little thing around the little pole. Peekaboo, peekaboo, I see you. Okay, well, then we get Damien Sandow versus Christian up next. We go to the ring, and out comes Damien Sandow. We get a look back at Sandow attacking Brodus Clay last week. Out next comes Christian. They lock up, and Sandow strikes first. Sandow whips Christian to the corner and hits him with a shoulder thrust. Sandow trips Christian and drops him with a big elbow for 2. Sandow runs into a big boot and misses the clothesline. Christian with a right hand and a clothesline of his own. Christian drops him down with a big right hand and comes off the second rope with an elbow. Christian readies for the finish, but Sandow rolls out of the ring. Christian comes out, and Sandow rams his head into the steel steps. Sandow brought it back into the ring, and Brodus Clay's music hits, and out he comes. Sandow is distracted, but Christian gets a 2 count. Sandow comes right back with his finisher on Christian for the win. This match, I don't even think, lasted about 3 minutes. It was so fast, it's like, it almost looked like a Ryback squash match. And Damien Sandow's finisher? Yeah, boring move. It's almost like a regular wrestling move. Let's say, well, whatever. HBK is still walking backstage around paranoid. He runs into Brock Lesnar. Lesnar just stares him down, and Shawn walks the other way. The contract signing was supposed to be next, but Cole says Triple H still has not yet arrived. Back to commercial. Back from the commercial, now comes Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman. They hit the ring. We've got the typical setup for the contract signing with table and chairs. Heyman introduces himself as the advocate for Brock Lesnar, of course. Heyman brings up Triple H's flight delays tonight. Heyman says that they believe that story because nobody wants the SummerSlam match more than Triple H. Heyman says Triple H needs it because this is the most personal fight of his career. Heyman goes on about Triple H. Heyman says that the contract for a SummerSlam match, Heyman has the contract for the SummerSlam match. Heyman won't allow Lesnar to be held legally responsible for what happens to Triple H. Heyman talked about how brutal the match will be. Heyman brings up Shawn Michaels and how he is in the building. Heyman invites Shawn out to come tell Lesnar to his face that he thinks Triple H will win on Sunday. Heyman says HBK isn't coming out, and you can't blame him. Heyman goes on, and Shawn Michaels' music hits, and out he comes. I missed most of this. Dozed off. I was tired from work and what have you. Okay, well, Shawn came down and grabbed the mic. Just has a stare down with Lesnar as the crowd chants. Triple H's music hits, and out he comes in a suit. Triple H locks eyes with Lesnar and enters the ring. They met at the table and stared each other down. The crowd chants mostly for Triple H. Triple H signs the contract first, but keeps an eye on Lesnar. Lesnar signs next and tosses the clipboard at Triple H. Lesnar and Heyman go to the floor. Lesnar smiles at Triple H as he walks around the ring to the ramp. The crowd chants, "You suck," at Heyman and Lesnar. We go to commercial. Back from the break, and we get some tout videos from the fans. Shawn Michaels is backstage with Triple H. Shawn says Brock is on a whole different level. Shawn says he will be there in Triple H's corner, but Triple H alone must beat Lesnar as Shawn walks off. And we go back to Cole and Lawler. They show us what happened with Punk, Show, and Cena at the end of their match. Matt Striker catches up with Show backstage for a moment. We hear a car accident, and it's Shawn Michaels running into Paul Heyman's car. Heyman is apologizing for when Lesnar runs over and pulls Shawn out of his car. The camera goes out, and all we get is blackness, and all we have is sound. Lesnar is saying that he has a message for Triple H while beating Shawn up as we go to commercial. Back from the break, and we get a look back at what just happened with Michaels, Heyman and Lesnar. And we go back to the parking lot where Shawn's car is. Nobody knows where Heyman, Lesnar, and Shawn is. WWE talents are looking everything over as Triple H walks up. AJ tells them that they're gone, and Triple H storms off. And we go back to the announcers as Lesnar comes walking to the ring with Shawn on his shoulder. As I woke up at this point seeing this part. Lesnar puts Shawn in the ring as Heyman also enters. Shawn stands up, but Lesnar puts him back down with an F5. Shawn rolls around in pain and tries to crawl up to Lesnar. Lesnar applies a Kimura lock, and here comes Triple H finally. Heyman tells Triple H to stop or Lesnar will break his arm. Triple H hesitates as Heyman keeps threatening him. Lesnar snaps Shawn's arm back anyway, and Triple H hits the ring. Lesnar flees, and Triple H chases him around before going to the back and to check on Shawn. Lesnar joins Heyman at the top of the ramp and laughs. Trainers and Triple H check on Shawn as he's selling the arm injury. Triple H apologizes, and Shawn says, "Get away from him." Lesnar teases that he's coming to the ring, and Triple H gets ready as Raw goes off the air with Lesnar smiling from the stage. Okay, and that'll end my video. Trying to keep it under 50 minutes this week. I was going to try and do the JCW, and that'll come up in a separate video. Thank you, and have a nice night. Stay tuned for SmackDown spoilers tomorrow night.